everyone, last night I watched Solo, a Star Wars story, and this is going to be my review, so warning out there will be spoilers. This is a spoiler video, so if you have not watched it, turn off if you don't want it to be spoiled. So, first off, I would love to say that Han Solo, the actor who plays Han Solo, did a really good job at playing Han Solo. As everyone knows, Harrison Ford is the actor who is well known for playing Han Solo, and that is how everyone kind of, when you think of Han Solo, you think of Harrison Ford. So was always going to be big boots to fill when you're portraying a character that's already been played by someone else. But he did really well, and he was very believable, so he did a really good job at doing that. And also in this film we get to find out as to how he got his name. So he was always called Han, but he never really had a surname in this film. So when he wanted to sign up to be a pilot with the Imperials, they wanted a surname from him. They were like, Han what? And he was like, just Han. Like, they were like, so what, you know, what's your last name? Like, what are your people called? And he was like, I don't have any people. So the guy at the desk said Solo, because he's on his own. He's like a loner. So that was kind of quite cool, because I just thought that was just his name, but I didn't realise it was because he kind of didn't really have any kind of connections. Obviously he has parents and he has people, but he's on his own now. So yeah, I didn't realise that was why his name was Solo, so that was really cool. So this whole film mainly is based around Han Solo wanting to get out of the situation he's in. Basically, where they are at the moment in the film, basically people are being enslaved, and you either follow the Empire, or you're enslaved by some people, or you're just owned, basically. And Han Solo and Kira really want to just get out and just live their lives and just not be told what to do by anyone. And basically the whole film is Han Solo trying to be free, basically. And they're trying to pull off lots of different types of jobs to basically get enough money to then go off and do what he wants, buy his own ship and all of that. One of the main things that I was kind of looking forward to in this was his lucky dice, because in Last Jedi we had the lucky dice with Luke Skywalker bringing it in and giving it to Leia, and then, you know, it's kind of been mentioned / in the Millennium Falcon. Obviously the dice had a sentimental meaning towards Han Solo. We, as the film starts, he has the lucky dice from the beginning, so we don't know as to how he got that lucky dice, because that's probably something obviously lucky happened when he first got it, or something lucky happened when he got it. So that's probably why it's his lucky dice. But in this film, while he had it, not really anything great happened to him. Another thing that I really liked in this film was how Han Solo met Chewbacca. So when he was serving for the Empire, Han Solo was basically in the war, in the army, and he was trying to desert and leave, and they found out and chucked him in a pit and said, we'll feed him to the beast. And as the beast is coming out of like the dark hole, you can tell that it's making the shape of Chewbacca. And obviously Chewbacca's like beating him up and smacking him around, and Han Solo's like, no, stop. And then eventually Han Solo starts to speak in Wookiee, so he's doing all the noises, and it's quite funny. And obviously Chewbacca's like, oh, like, you can speak Wookiee. And he says he can speak a little bit, but then they then conjure up a plan to then basically escape that prison, the cage, and then they go off together. So it was nice to see how Chewbacca and Han Solo meet and have their bond, because they met him, like, they were fighting, and then they worked together to get out of the situation they were in. So technically they both saved each other. And then later on in the film, they're in a place where there are lots of, like, Wookiees enslaved and people enslaved and robots enslaved, and they're running to go do what they need to do for the mission. And Chewbacca sees that there's loads of Wookiees, like, basically being beaten up and they're in chains. And Han's like, no, we need to go do the mission. And basically Chewbacca's like, no, I need to help, you know, my friends. So he runs off and he helps his friends, and then they come back after he's helped them, and then they help Han Solo, which is quite nice. It was quite nice to see, like, lots of Wookiees, because we only really see Chewbacca in all the films. We don't really see anyone. So that was nice. It was nice to see Han Solo and Chewbacca for the first time flying the ship. Basically, Lando gets shot and he can't fly his ship, so he asks Han Solo, like, go fly it. And then Kira comes over and then sits in the seat, and she's his co-pilot. And then Chewbacca basically says that he knows how to fly, and he, like, was flicking all the switches. And Kira was like, oh, okay, well, if you know how to fly, then you sit here and I'll go help Lando. And then, obviously, Chewbacca and Han Solo were sat in the 2 chairs in the Millennium Falcon for the first time, flying the ship together. So that was really cool. And I also liked that in this film, the Millennium Falcon just got wrecked. Like, it just got obliterated in them escaping the Kessel Run and just escaping from everyone chasing them and shooting at them. It got scraped against everything, and it was just, when it landed to where they needed to be, it just, like, all the bits had just fallen off. I really liked the character Tobias Beckett. He reminded me of Han Solo as the mature character, as we know Han Solo to be. That's who he reminded me of. And I think him as a character in Han Solo's younger days is what shaped him into being Han Solo as we know him. Because he was, you know, very old, grumpy man who was like, don't trust anyone, you know, no one's your friend. Basically just grumpy man. Probably one of my favourite bits in this film was when Tobias basically had betrayed everyone and was going off with the fuel, and he had taken Chewbacca as hostage to carry the fuel back to the ship to then run off with it. And Han Solo had gone there to chase him down to obviously save Chewbacca, and then to get the fuel to then give it to the people who Han Solo truly believes are the people who deserve to have it, to use it as part of the rebellion. And basically Tobias was about to get his gun out, or did he have his gun out? He was either about to get his gun out or he had his gun out, and they were both stood there, and he was like, you know, he was about to tell him something, and I believe that he was about to tell him, you know, always shoot first. That's what I had a funny feeling that's what was going to come out his mouth. But before he could even say that, Han shot first. And obviously everyone knows from the films that Han shoots first with the whole Greedo thing. And it was nice to see that that wasn't the first time he had done it. And after all of the things that Tobias had been telling him with don't trust anyone, don't this, don't that, he obviously learned a lesson and wasn't going to leave anything to chance, and wasn't going to trust him for a second to not shoot him. And yeah, that's what I felt like Tobias would have said if he hadn't have shot him. I felt like he was going to say, always shoot first, and then he was going to then literally shoot him as he was saying it. But Han Solo beat him to the punch. So I really like that, and that's what I want to believe in my head is what he would have said if he could have finished his line. Another character that I really liked in this film was L3. I really liked L3. She is a robot, and she's very much for like robot rights and, you know, being equal to everyone. And she goes, when they're off on one of the missions after Han Solo meet Lando and L3, and they go off in the Millennium Falcon, L3 saves and frees loads of robots. Basically how it starts off is she needs to get into a terminal, and she's like knocking on the robot, and she's like, excuse me, I need to get in here, I need to use this terminal, and the robot's just not acknowledging that she's there. She's like, excuse me, and then she's like, oh, you've got one of those chips on you, which make you basically, I guess, brainwashed. So then she takes the chip off, and then suddenly the robot's like awake, and it's like, what's going on? And she's like, you're free. And it's like, what do I do? And she's like, go free your friends, go free your relatives, like, go do whatever you want, just go. And then she uses the terminal, and then that robot goes around removing everyone else's chips, and then all the robots are like running around like, oh wow. And then obviously lots of people are being freed, and then Chewbacca helps the Wookiees get free, and then like all of these slaves and robots are just all running around like free, and it's not funny, but it was just nice to see. And during this time when they're all escaping, and Lando, Han and Kira and Tobias, they're all basically about to get onto the ship, they're about to leave. L3 is like in the middle of all the people, like proper loving life and being like, yeah, I found my purpose in life, like I'm freeing everyone. And then she gets shot and is on the floor, and then Lando gets really upset and runs into the crowd and tries to save her. And I didn't know that Lando liked robots so much. Like in this film you see him have a very close connection with his robot L3. He literally like risks his life to go and get her and save her, and he gets shot in the process, and then Han then runs in and then saves both of them. They end up downloading her navigation system into the Millennium Falcon. They always said that the Millennium Falcon had like a personality of its own, and I guess it's true because L3's program is wired in with the system of the Millennium Falcon, so that makes sense. I really liked the character Kira. I liked the fact that she obviously was really close with Han. I liked the fact that she basically did what she needed to survive, and I like that how it ended. So basically, right at the end, when they've got the fuel and they're about to give it over to Crimson Dawn, and then the Effie's Nest shows up, the pirates, and they basically take off their helmets and explain as to why they want it. They want it for a better cause, to, you know, build hope for a rebellion, blah, blah, blah. And Han obviously sees that they are in more need and are going to use it for more better cause than who they're planning on giving it to, and hand it over to Crimson Dawn. And obviously they were there. The guy he gave it to, he was like, oh, get one, open it, bring one to me. And he was like, it's highly explosive. He was like, no, bring it to me, I want to have a proper look. And he was like, oh, like I'd believe you that it was real if I hadn't been told by my associate that it was fake. And he was like, oh, like Kira told you. He's like, no, not Kira, bring my associate in. And it was Tobias. And obviously Tobias then does his whole, oh, you shouldn't have trusted anyone, I told you all the time, like, don't trust anyone, so, you know, like I told you. But obviously, this is what I loved about it. It was like a double, triple bluff. It was like a bluff and a bluff. And, oh, it was not confusing, but you know where they say they're going to do something and then they don't do something, but then obviously because that person thought they were going to do it, they then didn't do it, and, you know, one of those things. So obviously Han then said, you also told me that people were predictable. So he obviously thought that he was gonna hand him in. Tobias goes off with the fuel and takes Chewbacca, like I was saying earlier. So obviously he knows that technically he's betrayed her. So then they start fighting, and then Han's fighting with him, and then she's kind of creeping around in the corners. And then she pretends to, like, attack Han. Well, she does attack Han, but doesn't kill him. And then she then swipes and kills the other guy. And then she's all like, oh yeah, Han, you know, go get the fuel, go save Chewbacca, I'll be right behind you. You know, we need to, like, steal the gems and stuff to, like, have money to buy a ship, blah, blah, blah. And she obviously has different motives and told him to go so that she could be alone. And she basically did a conference call with Darth Maul, which obviously I didn't know that Darth Maul was going to be in it. She has a call with Darth Maul, and basically she is working with Darth Maul, and, you know, that was her plan all along, which I thought was quite clever, and I liked that, because it, you know, she kept saying to Han, she was like, I've done lots of things, you wouldn't look at me the same way, you wouldn't be happy with basically who I am now. And, you know, like, she serves the Siths. And she then went off, and Han obviously saw the ship go, so he knew that she was then deserting him. At the end of the film, Han Solo goes back to where Lando is, and he's all like, oh, you're alive, because obviously I guess he thought that leaving them, they would be dead. They were left for dead. So, you know, he's all like, ah! And as they're, you know, arguing, saying, Chewbacca's going to rip your arms off, blah, blah, blah. And he's all like, oh, no, no, no. He saw that he had the little card holder on his sleeve, in his arm, which he used to cheat the first time that they played cards. Because Han would have won with the hand he had if Lando didn't cheat. So he's all like, oh, no, come here. Gave him a hug. Obviously took his card away from him, so that he couldn't cheat. And then he basically offered to play again. And Han won because he couldn't cheat anymore. He was sat there like this, like, trying to get the card out. And then he was like, you got everything you need there? And he's like, oh, I haven't got my card. And then obviously he then loses, because he's probably not as good. He's obviously probably good at cards, but he's not as good without obviously cheating, because he gets, like, the best hand with the card that he has. So, technically, Lando well, not technically. Lando cheated twice if he could have, but I like the fact that, because when I saw that Han Solo was taking was taking it from his arm, I was thinking, oh, Han's gonna cheat now. And Han didn't cheat, because he said, if you had this card, you would have beat my hand. So his hand didn't include the card that he stole. So Han Solo didn't cheat, and he still won. So I liked that. But all in all, I did like this film. The beginning was great, the middle was a bit, and the end was good. Overall, I would rate it a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, it wasn't brilliant, but I personally believe that they're going to make another one. The way that they ended it, and because Han Solo has so many things happen to him in his life, I reckon they're going to make another Han Solo film. Personally, the way that they left it felt very, not open-ended, but, you know, they were going on about, because Tobias was saying about how they were going to go do this big job that was going to be his last job to basically go off and retire. But obviously Han killed Tobias, so then he was like, yeah, we're going to go to that place on Tatooine and go do that, you know, that big job. And then obviously Kira with Darth Maul, and Darth Maul's like, come to me, and you know, we get them. So there could be another film. I personally think that they will do another film, because at the end of the day, it's Star Wars. They're just trying to make that money. So I reckon they'll make another one, personally. So yeah, so I thought it was a good film, but not brilliant. It wasn't the best. But the actor who plays Han Solo did a really good job. It's just it could have been cut down. I think that's what my issue is. It was 2 hours and like 23 minutes. And in all honesty, I thought it could have been like an hour and 50. Like, they could have cut a good amount out and it still would have made sense. It just would have been more like boom, 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 which is kind of quite good with films. Like, I feel like films feel very pressured to be like 2 hours or longer these days. Like, what happened to your hour and a half film? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, all these big blockbusters, they're like 2 hours or more. Let me know what you think of the film, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!